I think this is a new format for the show, Harper. I appreciate you coming along this ride with us.
I do what I can, and for me, it works out great because it's really hard to give me a failing grade for my effort today when I haven't seen the game.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say, regardless of the circumstances, I just appreciate you, Harper. I'm not gonna, unlike Joey.
No caveats.
My love
JT.
is unconditional.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, you get an A+ from me for the pod, obviously.
Nice.
Joey, you're working a B-. Room for improvement.
Yeah. I've been at the same academic institution as Joey, and believe me, B-, he's cruising. He's fine.
I just put my feet up after you said B-. I just reached over on the steering wheel, just turned on cruise control, and away we go.
Let Tesla take care of it. It's cool.
Yeah. That guy's an asshole. All right.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. Whee! I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That must be Jeremiah with them. Zoom down.
That train is off the tracks.
Who doesn't love the bouncy castle?
Hitler.
Just prepare to... just prepare to be awash in undebeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is May 10th, 2024, and this is episode 707. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're discussing Game 3 of the Pacers-Knicks Eastern Conference semifinals. Joining me this show are two of our three analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jamison Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Tripler.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatable? Shout out to Rain. Rain usually doesn't get a shout out, but shout out because it canceled an ostensible camping trip and allowed me to watch Game 3.
Nice. Rain can always go away and come again another day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's right.
But the playoffs, you never know when they're coming back.
Could be a decade before we see round 2.
That's right.
From Tacoma, Washington, out west, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, fellas? Episode 707. Shouting out Boeing, much to the chagrin of my podcasting partners here.
Shout out?
Question mark?
You can do it, Boeing. Get it together.
We're trying. We're trying to get better. That's all we can ask.
Yeah.
And at least we're not Elon Musk.
Hey, that's a good place to start. But because we're not Elon Musk, I want to remind listeners that we need support.
Or Elon, if he's listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. You know what? I'd skip his money.
I would spend it. That is green.
That is as fungible as all of it.
He can send me crypto. NFTs, don't care.
My first option, though, is our supporters, our listeners, and especially the ones that head to patreon.com/undebeatables and support us for as little as $1 per month. If you get up to the $5 tier per month, we ship a koozie to you, and you can join our Slack channel. So this show is a little bit different than other shows that we've had. We've done shows for most of the playoff games individually. Some of them we've done together, but this one Harper, what do we name this one? Explain your situation.
I am
West Coaster.
leaning in hard on the fact that I know nothing about basketball by having not watched this game at all. So when Joey asked me how I was earlier, I said, Schrodinger's mood. I don't know how I am yet, and I'm judging my reactions based on my podcasting amigos. They don't seem too distraught, but I literally don't know the outcome of the game.
Well, I am one that I can hide my emotions very well, so I feel like I've hoped done a good job of not tipping my hand here. But we'll set the scene. It's Game 3. Of course, the Knickerbockers won both games 1 and 2 in New York and sends the series back to Indiana for, at least games 3 or 4. So the Pacers played well in the first half of both the two games, the first two games, and took good leads into halftime and ended up not coming away with a W in either of those for a variety of reasons. So, Game 3 back home, May 10th at the Fieldhouse, and no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in basketball. And so, I kind of forget that and remember that as the game goes on. I said, "Oh, this is the series. This is the season." And it was tight, I guess. Without giving away the score yet, Jason, do you want to tease Harper a little bit on the flow of the game?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can do that. Pacers come out. I thought it pretty good. Tyrese Halliburton looked effective. The defensive intensity was really good. Got out to, I think, a 12-point lead midway through the first quarter. Some good.
I read that book before.
Yeah, exactly. And then surprisingly, the story so far in the series has been that the Pacers bench has been like the plus, and the starters have been the minus. In this game, the bench kind of struggled, I thought, in the latter half of the first quarter and definitely into the second quarter. And by mid-second quarter, the Knicks had tied it and even taken the lead. Pacers push it back a little bit by halftime and take a 5-point lead into halftime there. And like you said, we've seen this movie before. What's up?
Oh, no, I wanted to also, I guess, clarify. So, OG Anunoby went out of Game 2 with limping with a hamstring, and they did announce, and he did not play this game at all. And I think Mitchell Robinson was also out for a while.
Yeah, he missed the last game. They're reevaluating him in 6 to 8 weeks. He's got
so 6 to 8 weeks. So he's also not available.
Is even thinner.
Right, yeah.
Precious Achua gets the start.
Yes.
And has to play 48.
He starts.
They dusted off Alec Burks.
Oh, yeah.
Who actually came out and was murdering us for a while, hitting some threes.
Excellent.
Yep. Jalen Brunson playing gimpy on his foot, but still relatively effective. Not so much in the first quarter, went out early and then came back and ended up with 13 points in the second quarter. So that was a big reason why the Knicks sort of crawled their way back into the game. And admittedly the proverbial buttholes were very clenched at my house. I did not want this game to be tight going down the stretch because I know how good this Knicks team is. And then in the third quarter, the Pacers actually come out quite well, I thought, starting the third, and then about halfway through just completely fall apart. And by the end of the third quarter, the Knicks have a 5-point lead going in, and we're doing very Nicky things. They were beating us every loose ball. They were capitalizing on defensive mistakes. Dante DiVincenzo, I think at this point in the game, was 5 of 7 from 3-point range, and just hitting ridiculous things with his hand.
17
in his face.
in the third.
Yeah.
17 in the third.
DiVincenzo had 17 by himself in the third.
By himself.
You're not supposed to let that happen.
No, you absolutely are not. Halliburton looked not as timid as he did in the third quarter of game 2, but not as assertive as I wanted him to be. And again, the bench really struggled here. I thought Obi Toppin was basically a no-show. McConnell was effective, but missed a lot of short bunnies. Ben Shepherd, I don't know if Ben Shepherd scored a point. Maybe he had a 3, but
he had 2 points total.
Okay.
But it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the same game. I thought he played fine defensively, but offensively was not really there.
Oh, that's right. He got like a turnover early on or something like that and converted it.
Yeah.
So anyway, then we go into the fourth. And
down a handful.
Continued down a handful. Start out continuing to get kind of housed and outplayed, and then all of a sudden, I at this point was watching the game and said, "Well, I'm just going to fold some laundry because I can't watch this right now."
It's hard, man.
And proceeded to that allowed the Pacers then to get their shit together. They came back and tied it up by midway through the fourth quarter, and then it was sort of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth down the stretch. Guys hitting big shots, Pascal Siakam being very assertive, and then I believe it's a tie ball game. Is that right, Joey?
They definitely were tied, a couple times.
Pacers were actually doing a very good job. The game was very frantic on both ends. Guys were creating shots, missing them, and the Pacers were doing a great job on the offensive glass, getting second chance opportunities.
Offensive fouls too.
Right.
There's a lot of the offensive
fair
fouls.
Amount of charges. About 16 seconds left in the game. Pacers get an offensive rebound. It's kind of a scrambled possession. Halliburton has the ball at the top of the key. The Knicks bring a second defender, and he kind of doesn't have a plan. Chucks it over to Nembhard about 30 feet away from the basket with kind of no plan, and Nembhard does like a real awkward like step back 3, but just cash money.
What?
Just nailed it. Yes. And so the crowd just goes bananas at this point. And
they somehow have the stat that this was the longest 3 of his career.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
It was amazing.
How is that the play we're going to in a tie game or whatever with 16 seconds left?
Yeah. And he was 1 of 7 from the floor.
Oh, my gosh.
Thus far in the game. But nails it. Tyrese Halliburton couldn't believe it. Like, the look on his face was like,
just like
how did
hands
that work?
on his head.
Unbelievable. And then the Pacers just kind of like closed it out, I guess, in the last few minutes. Played some really solid defense. Miles Turner had a huge block down the stretch.
Oh, big one.
Where the Knicks could have taken the lead, but turned it around, and the Pacers got a bucket out of that. And I just thought, in a way, out-executed the Knicks down the stretch. I guess if you count that making a 30-footer executing, but but it went in the basket.
It took a lot of things to go the right way to close this one out. But so final score 111-106. I guess I didn't realize this during the game, but Pacers hold New York to 16 in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
And they do put this game on ice. I think one change that we saw, which was very effective, was switching the primary defender on Brunson.
Finally brought Neesmith up.
Finally.
Yeah.
It only took until game 3.
Yeah.
I think we called for that in game 1, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we did.
I believe I said, so we're just going to go with Neesmith on Brunson from the tip, right?
Yes.
Because that's the right thing to do?
Yes.
But so they did that. They made that change, and he did he did as well as you're going to do against him. So, to be fair to Brunson, he's not 100% by any stretch. They subbed him out kind of earlier than you would expect, and he still ends up with 26 points. And DiVincenzo, like I said, It was 17 in the third, ends up with 35. He took over a lot of the scoring duties. And Harper, if this tells you anything, Josh Hart had to be subbed out.
Oh my gosh.
He only played 43.
Well, that's why they lost.
Only played
right
43
there.
minutes this game. I mean, that's it. He did not look happy that he had to come off.
Did
the floor.
he walk to the right bench? Did he even know where it was?
He just went and sat in the stands on the opposite side. Is this what I do? Yeah, no. You bring up a good point, Joey. Like, we did a great job on Brunson this game, and I mean, it was a combination of our defense and him being, I think, a little bit tired, and obviously his foot bothering him a bit. He shot 38% from the field, and actually missed free throws, which I don't think I had seen. He was like 4 or 7 from the line, one of which down the stretch he drew fouls, as he always does down the stretch. I think in the last minute was at the line and missed the front end, or the first free throw, like barely grazed the front rim.
Boy, that is tired.
Yeah, exactly. So So
they
finally
shot
starting to catch
50. They shot almost 52% from 3-point range, 14 of 27, and we still won the game.
Yeah, I mean,
you know why? At least partially, we beat the Knicks in rebounding, 42-41.
Ooh, boy.
So that stretch that Jason was talking about towards the end, where we sort of, got everything together, the Pacers looked like some of the Knicks earlier in the series, where they were getting offensive
5
rebounds,
guys on
keeping
the
the ball
glass,
alive, and making stuff happen. I mean, there was. I certainly think that there was a high level of intensity, and there was another, Nembhard getting some of these tough rebounds, in traffic. I think like he did against the Bucks, and really helped out there because, like we said, he wasn't scoring.
I just to correct you, Joey, I have the Knicks out rebounding. That's 50-48, based on the stats that I'm looking at. But
ESPN has it 42-41. Also, I finally pulled up a box score here.
Okay,
I finally joined the party.
NBA.com has them at 50-48.
I mean, regardless, we didn't get smashed on the glass, no matter which way you slice it.
They didn't own us. Josh Hart didn't get 16.
No, yeah, he got 18.
Oh,
yeah, he murdered us, but we held Hartenstein in check, especially on the offensive glass down the stretch. That was the key, was the last 5 minutes.
He really did get 18. I thought you were messing with me.
No.
Good Lord.
He had like 6 in the first quarter, I think.
And
6 or
in
7.
43 minutes.
Yes. Yeah,
That's with taking a break.
He was doing that. He did that part well. But they don't, they don't have they're not deep, and so that they are the contributors. Miles McBride played almost 30 minutes, and he gets 10 points. I just from watching the game, I don't remember him being out there for 30 minutes, but that's what the score sheet says, so I'll go for it. Alec Burks, though, he got 14 on us, but he had several timely threes, which hurt us.
14 points on 4 shots. That is efficient.
He was. Yes, he was doing the things that he wanted to do. Jason, I did want to talk to you about Pascal Siakam's game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? So he ends up box score 26 points, 7 rebounds, an assist and a block. He struggled again at the free throw line, but this game he did not. So he was 7 of 9.
Yeah, he was quite good.
Yeah, so this series though, or the playoffs, he's not been doing well at the free throw line.
Yeah, he did miss one down the stretch, like with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that. So
he would
that's
disappear.
right?
He would disappear for stretches for me, but I think he had some pretty solid defensive plays and some timely offensive possessions.
Oh, absolutely. I thought
this
was Siakam's best game. I mean, he was battling foul trouble the entire game, basically.
Yeah.
So that limited
right.
him defensively, but I thought he was much more assertive on the offensive end. He and the team made a concerted effort of taking advantage of that Josh Hart matchup, which we talked about in the the last show, which is there all the time, and he did a really good job of exploiting that. And then down the stretch, like I said, I thought he was really taking a leadership role and like wanted the ball and was taking tough shots. He didn't make them all, obviously, but he was very assertive, got himself to the line, like you said, got to the line 9 times, right, which is almost unheard of for a Pacer in this series. So so that was good, and hit a couple really clutch shots, made a couple nice defensive plays. I thought it was his best game. Yeah,
he had as many free throws as the rest of the roster combined.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Miles
Turner, welcome back to the series.
Yeah, I was say Miles Turner played pretty well. He had a potentially game-saving block, in the waning seconds. Mm-hmm. Halliburton, Harper, you may, this one was when you're watching live and you don't know the outcome of the game. Halliburton kind of got in a position where he was in trouble and went off his feet and had to let the ball go, so it wasn't a travel. Ends up live ball turnover, and Miles Turner comes with a chase down block. They showed a slow-mo replay. I could not tell if it was off the backboard first. I couldn't.
Those
tell.
calls are hard,
but
it was very close.
Yeah, they had a couple. Actually, New York had 2 goaltending calls that were not hard, and one of them, the one by Hartenstein, was not going to go in for sure, and he gave us 2 points on that. Is it Hartenstein or Hartenstein? I
think it's Stein.
Hartenstein. Okay, I keep forgetting, and I always use the other one. But yeah, Miles Turner had some of those. He got a nice flagrant one against his face by, I think it was Alec Burks. Yep. That just cracked him right across the old noggin.
Yeah,
get possession of that.
Didn't realize he was their enforcer. That's weird.
It was a very old school playoff foul, but he just clocked him in the face.
Get your money's worth.
That's a player, no doubt. There were a couple of controversial calls.
Wouldn't be Knicks Pacers without, would it?
Right, exactly. So Aaron Nesmith was playing great defense on Jalen Brunson. Probably was very physical with him out top. No whistle though. They drive into the lane, and then Nesmith knocks the ball away, but they called a foul. The Pacers challenge, and they actually win that. But it was a weird thing where the possession wasn't clear, so it went to a jump ball, and then the Knicks ended up getting.
I feel like those are just not worth challenging ever. I don't understand why we ever challenge those, unless it's somebody's fourth foul or something.
It was going to be Nesmith's 4th foul, and I think they were in the bonus, so it was going to be free throws. So it was actually it was
I guess late in the game, and you got it, use it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was 3 minutes left.
Okay, that's fair.
We only had 2 timeouts left, though, so it was a little bit iffy, but turned out well.
Yeah,
so.
Good job, coach. Had to win that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we benefited by there was a play where there was a scramble on a rebound, and it wasn't clear who it went out on. They called it Pacers ball. Tom Thibodeau was looking to his bench like, should I challenge this? Should I challenge this? And they're like, no. And then he was like, timeout, challenge. And so they lost that one, and that put him down to 1 timeout with 6 minutes left or something like that. And
no challenge.
And no more challenges, which maybe he could have used later, on this goaltend, or, there's a couple block charge situations that maybe you could have challenged, but
yeah. On some level, as the Knicks coach, you have to use your timeouts at regular intervals because you refuse to sub, right?
That's the way you get rest for your guys.
It's the only thing that you have, unless one of them fakes an injury for you.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, the shot that Brunson, their last gasp shot that Brunson took, he was complaining up and down about a foul on that one, and after the game he had gone to the referees, but I didn't see, there was contact kind of as he was dribbling, but I didn't see anything. He was, to me, it looked like he was complaining his arm got hit. I didn't see anywhere near that. Did you think that there was a foul on there?
I did not know. Jill and I were watching it, and she was like, well, he kind of tripped over Turner's foot. So, I mean, maybe that's a foul, but, like, at that stage of the game, I mean, it was, like, last 3 seconds or something like that. Like, hopefully they're not going to call that, but it was a situation that looked like for sure it was going to be a foul because there were, like, 3 Pacer defenders. He pump fakes. All 3 of them go up in the air, and he, like, somehow doesn't do a Jalen Brunson. He, like, avoided contact so he could shoot it, whereas he should have just jumped into a guy and, like, gotten the 3 points.
Yeah. Even though they're not supposed to call that, they probably would have.
Right, for sure, yeah. So, yeah, and maybe that's what the referee was explaining to him. It was like, look, dude, you have to jump into him. You have to give us a chance to fix this for you, We can't just make stuff up. Well, I mean, we could make some stuff up, but we don't.
There's a limit to our fiction.
Right.
You can bend the rules, but you can't break them because the fans were, as you'd expect, they were particularly in a game like this where it was very close and just very meaningful and very just lots of excitement, very 3-pointers and lead changes and all that sort of fans were wild. So shout out to the Pacer fans in the building.
So I look at this box score, and Halliburton's got 35 on 26 shots, relatively good efficiency, couple steals, 2 turnovers, which given the intensity of the Knicks defense, you'll live with that all day. But it doesn't feel like he ran this game somehow, from what you guys have told me.
I mean, it's a good point. He dominated the first half, I would say, and made several huge shots. Like, his 3-pointers came at very timely moments. But, yeah, down the stretch, it was interesting that they kind of forced the ball out of his hands, again, as they have done. And Siakam was more than willing to sort of take on the scoring burden down the stretch. And that's a matchup, I think, that we liked as well. So,
sure.
But yeah, I mean, he was definitely like in control of the game in the first half, and it's interesting against this Knicks team. Like, they're so good defensively that they mute a lot of his, like, even when he's scoring, it's like somehow not that impactful. And he certainly is not. The thing that they really limit him from doing is creating easy assists for his teammates, which we've seen all season long. So it doesn't seem like a typical Halliburton game. But yeah, I didn't realize he took 26 shots. Like, that's kind of surprising to me, but I guess he was chucking up a bunch of 3-pointers.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a DiVincenzo game, 26 shots. But, going into this series, I thought to myself, they're going to find a way to really affect Halliburton's scoring, but he will be able to find assists on the court. And holding him to 7 assists when he really wants to be a distributor is excellent for sure. I don't know. I expect that he's going to have at least one truly monster game in this series, right? Where, he has it going and he's getting other people the rock.
For sure.
And we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah. I mean, this was definitely the most impact he's had on the game. He had 34 in game 2 as well, but like we said, went kind of quiet in that third quarter in game 2.
When we lost the game for ourselves.
Basically, yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, it's a tough burden. I mean, this is the first time in the playoffs we're asking him to do a lot of things.
We're asking him to do too much.
And he's of course the top line thing on their defensive scouting report, and they're doing an excellent job. It's like amazing watching the contrast between the way the Knicks play defense and the way the Pacers play defense. Like, the Knicks rotations are so
crisp,
tight. Like, even when you think you have them worked, like, they close so quickly And then like even the second and third rotations are like just exactly where they're supposed to be. Like they are so well coached and trained, and like they just work so hard that it makes it hard to score.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Absolutely. When we say on a string, that is what you think of, right? And there's probably some benefit to having the short rotation because the guys are even more familiar with each other and what they're doing, right?
For sure, yeah. And then you watch the Pacers play defense, and one back cut unlocks the whole thing, and it's just like a layup. So, not to say, I mean, I will say that the effort on the defensive end was there tonight. Actually, I would say it's been there most of the series. We just aren't.
We're not very good at it.
Like, we just have bad fundamentals, right? So
the first quarter defensively was, I thought, very impressive. They really disrupted everything that the New York was trying to do. It made Brunson work really hard, and I think that set the tone for the game. And part of that is just making them work because they're not going to get the sub that much. And Brunson came out quickly. He came out with like 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter, that's
the scary thing is with all of that. At halftime, the Knicks were shooting 60% from the floor and 50% from 3-point range, and we're only down 5 points. It's like a very, frustrating, I guess, thing to watch. Because you can tell that the guys are working hard, and it's just the Knicks are an efficient team, I guess.
Yeah, they look extremely well coached right now.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So, Harper, what do you think? You gonna go watch this game?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't watch the losses, but I watch the wins.
It's worth a watch.
That's
sure.
That's fair.
Shout out to it was on ESPN this game, and they had the 3-man booth of Mike Breen, who, by the way, is the day-to-day announcer for the Knicks. So he couldn't help but slip into a little bit of bias every now and then. But that's
he's a good announcer.
He did an overall good job.
A good announcer.
And then they had a 3-person booth with JJ Redick and Doris Burke.
I like
and
Doris
I thought,
Burke very much.
Yeah, and I thought JJ Redick was like actually, I thought they meshed well, the three of them.
I will try and be patient with a Duke alone.
Sure, yeah. So you just got to forget that part about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it with mute. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, can you just selectively... Can you put the JJ Redick filter on? Then you can still listen to Doris.
I'm positive ChatGPT 5 can do that for me. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Any other notes, Joey? Caitlin Clark was in the house. They did a couple shots of her celebrating. Oh, which reminds me, Joey, can we get a report on your experience at the Indiana Fever preseason game? I
do. Yeah, I want to talk about that before we went. So yeah, now's as good a time as any. Yeah, I got to go. I took my cousin hooked me up and sent me to the preseason game. Took my mom and watched them beat the Atlanta Dream. And they had a slow start to the game, but I mean it was still a preseason game, pretty sloppy, on both ends of the floor. But Clark was there. She played. She started and played. I think a pretty normal, rotation. And it's fun to watch. I mean, she was fun to watch. The crowd, there was 13,000 plus there for a preseason game. It was not sold out by any means, but they had all 3 tiers open, which they didn't even do that for regular season games. So good crowd in the house. So many Clark t-shirts, Iowa shirts, and yeah, it was good crowd, and the game was fun. And God, of course, a lot of people there to watch Clark, but man, Boston too was just so. She's so fun to watch. You get some of these little guards trying to cut in the lane, trying to slide by her, and she just reminds me, I don't know, just like an adult in a room of kids sometimes. They're just trying to slide by, and she's just like, nope, and just slaps the ball, away, and it was entertaining. But yeah, I'm excited for this Fever team, and I mean, if that preseason crowd was any indication, there's gonna be a good following this season. So Clark was actually pretty cold from three. I think she was like 1 of 7 or something, but she hit, but she made probably a 30-footer. Nemhard went away. It blew Tyrese's mind, but Clark hit that without breaking a sweat.
The winning in the preseason was making me nervous, so at least she had an off game. That makes me feel slightly better about the unintended W.
She had a lot of turnovers too, but honestly, I think a lot of
Now's
that
the
was
time. Try everything you want.
But I mean, a lot of those I felt like it was like those Mark Jackson to Rick Smits passes where the ball just like shows up in your hands and you never expected it. And so she's a very clever passer, and your team's, if you're too clever, then it also doesn't work. So your team's got to get used to that
4 times or whatever.
Always be ready.
Yep.
Well, that's
but
great.
It was fun, and I had a good time, and yeah, this team should be fun. Yeah. Also, I mean, a couple players kind of scratched from the game, but who was the other one? Oh, it was Grace Berger, I think, was the number 7 pick last year. My mom thought she played a lot like TJ McConnell, just pesky, and just high energy and kind of like good mid-range shots. So she was good. I forgot last year we had the number 1 and number 7 pick. So, but it was fun.
And you're burying the lead, I guess. Lance Stevenson was in the building.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, so they during the game they did kind of put him on camera, and he actually was reasonably close to me, so I could see him during the game, but also afterwards. The place goes nuts when they put him on the camera, and then after the game, there were so many people that were coming up for autographs and pictures and stuff, and he stuck around for a very long time doing that stuff, which I just think I'm just trying to think of another relationship like that in sports where's the player was never like the number 1 guy, but the Indiana loves him, obviously, so he was there, and it was very, very good to see him, and he was very, very gracious and generous with his time with the fans. You don't have to do that kind of stuff.
How long did you guys hang out after the game?
We were there.
Joey and Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed till last call at the Fieldhouse.
Fair.
They had to flip the lights off and on. And they turned the music off. I don't know. No, I was waiting around for a few minutes before we were able to go, and yeah, he was very kind. So
shout out
Lance in the house, and then Caitlin Clark was at the Pacers game tonight, and she got a good show. So Pacers take the series to 2-1. Is there a phrase for that?
Well.
When the series is 2-1.
Only if in this case you'd have to be a Knick fan to say that one. Or 1-2.
Yeah. Oh right.
Or 1-2. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, Pacers take game 3. Jason, do you have the start time on Sunday?
I do. The game 4 will be Sunday. It's a 3:30 tip in the afternoon, back at the Fieldhouse, and then now we know there will be a game 5 which will be back in New York on Tuesday, the 14th. That's at 8 o'clock tip. Game 6 and 7, if necessary, Friday and Sunday.
TBD.
Celebrate Mother's Day right with a dub.
Absolutely.
That's how you do it. All right, team. Anything else, guys, before we hit the road?
Happy Mother's Day, mommies.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody out there. And Sunday is also, it's Mother's Day and my dad's birthday.
Shout out.
So,
Shout
happy
out.
birthday. But until next time, you can find us on the social media. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message. And email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And the website /store is where the merch is.
And for the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame head coach, Bobby Slick Leonard, and the Hall of Famer Boomer, who I'm sure was just having a blast. It's been a decade since Boomer's been in a second round, series.
It's true.
He's got to dust it off. I bet the crowd went nuts when he went up into the rafters with the Pacers banner. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
The old stop and go.
Mm-hmm. I've been
Change
watching
the
Jalen
pace.
Brunson too much.
Yeah. Well, we called a foul, and so you get an extra. You get an extra song you get to sing now.
Sweet.